Good evening. I'd like to call this special Board of Selectmen meeting to order, June 5th, 7 p.m., and ask that you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And roll call.
Art Gaggy.
Scott Gardner.
Kevin Cunningham. Item C, the item that we have in front of us for approving meeting minutes from the Board of Selectmen meeting from 5/22, as that was a special meeting, and a special meeting also at 5:30. Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve meeting minutes for 5/22/23 and 5/30/23.
I will second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Thank you. Public comment. This time we'll entertain public comment.
I just wanted to confirm that you and the two other selectmen received my letter of interest for the charter revision appointment. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. I'm also wondering tonight, when you get to that part, are you going to have open discussion with the residents, or are you just going to motion to appoint it and move on?
Well, the idea for tonight's agenda is we're going to consider an act on a resolution creating the charter for commission, not appointing anybody as of yet.
No, what I'm saying is when you get to that portion, will you allow any more citizen participation, or is this going to be?
This would be it right here.
Okay, because I am really wondering how we even got to this tonight. So I might as well finish my questions at this point, then if we're not going to reopen. Because after reviewing the way this is all going on, I still don't understand how the language got so significantly changed in 2(4)C. Given that the ballot question was very clear, your instruction to the Charter Commission was clear, and the reflection of the videos of just wanting to tackle improvement as a budgeted item to be voted, not kept as a plan in the 2018. And how did that so drastically get changed? And then it was concerning because when I went to the town clerk's office to get even a rough or final draft of that, she said we don't have one. And what's interesting is that she said it possibly could have been on the computer. When we got hacked, it got wiped out. But from my understanding from state statute, there should have been an actual physical rough draft for inspection for the public anyway. So apparently that process wasn't done either. And what I'm concerned about is if we don't figure out how this mess that happened, how do we assure for the upcoming charter revision that this can't potentially happen again? As far as language change, without understanding how that language change happens. So I think the public trust has been kind of broken. So even for me, like when I was submitting my letters, it's like, okay, I want to be part of this, but I also want to make sure that whoever put in their letter of interest or is going to should be concerned that something like this doesn't happen again with another charter revision committee. So do you have any answer as to how we got here?
No answers at this point. I think this is something we're still working with. We know that there are multiple issues that occurred, and you're right. The question would be, before we actually go to complete this particular charter that comes up, is that we go through and kind of verify that all the steps are shared with everybody before we go forward.
Right.
So I'll talk about that a little bit when we get down to that section.
Okay. Because I know in 2019, it was in November, before the first charter commission under your administration started. I was at that meeting and I went back and reviewed the video, and I was really concerned then about the going forward of a charter revision committee that soon into your administration. And then when I reviewed it, it was like a nightmare. I mean, the new charter commission came into play 3 months later. They were closed up because of COVID. But then 7 months later, while we were still under COVID restrictions, another charter revision was started, which was the 2021 one, where June Gagny was the chair. So it's like we've had a 2018, 2019 going into 2020, then 21, then another one in 22, and now we're back here again. So I just think it's important, if we're going to do this again, we better get it right, because this costs the town money to do this. And we instill some kind of public trust back. So, and are you also considering that with this revision commission, we literally break the charter and go piece by piece by piece, which would be extremely expensive and time-consuming for whoever the committee members are?
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other public comment at this time?
Hi, Heather Smith. I also wanted to confirm that you received my
Yes.
letter of interest. Okay. And I think what Naomi was saying is, are we looking at doing a root cause analysis of what happened? And are there any other committees that would be involved in?
This would be just Charter Revision Commission, also guided with the selectmen by saying, if we were to find certain things in the charter that need to be fixed, that would be one of them, obviously, and there could be some others, and that's usually the charge when we start off. We also look for input from the Charter Revision Commission. Maybe they found something else. I mean, in 2022, they could have found other errors then. I don't know. I don't know why it wasn't caught then either.
Okay.
One more thing is, the other thing I reviewed earlier today is, it was concerning because in the Knowledge Bulletin article that was recently published about this misstep, is Ms. Gagnon was quoted as saying that the town attorney played a part in this. And when I reviewed it in 2019, we were newly elected, you hired the council of Sussman and Shapiro. Then I seen that when that resolution was voted on for that law firm, there was supposed to be an update in the end of December 2020, so before the January 2021 year for a vote or consideration for either that same council or new council. I couldn't find that. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, I just couldn't find it in the minutes because some of them are online, some of them are not. So is that still the same town council we're currently using and we'll be using them during the 2021 charter?
Yes.
Okay. And are we going to be using them going forward?
Yes.
Okay, and there's no concern if this was done by them. Is there any question to that?
I think I've already spoken to the attorney about it, and they're going to, look at this a little more in depth to make sure that this doesn't occur again.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Linda Travis, and I emailed you. And
Yes.
And you got my
Yes, you did.
letter. Also, we were disbanded, I think, before the election. Now, my thoughts would be we would stay, see what passes, and then we would get to review any wording that was going to be put into the charter.
But once you're disbanded, there's no function that you have at that point.
Right, but if we weren't disbanded until after
Right.
everything was done, we could do that. Is that-
Could, yes, and that's why I'm looking at doing some different dates and changes at
Changes, okay.
this juncture.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public?
I just have a question.
Yep.
It's not related to charter revision, believe it or not.
Could you mind just stating your name for the...
Tammy Robbins.
Thank you, Tammy.
I need to go about getting some signage on North Main, and so I know it's state road, so I don't know what you guys are gonna have to do to.
So you're looking for signage on a state road?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's, the first step would be we'd be contacting the town police because they are the road authority, and they would contact the state to figure out what could be done.
Okay, is there anybody I should speak to, particularly at the police station?
Well, you have a couple of police commission members here right now. Maybe we can chat about that after.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it, thanks.
Anybody else from the public wishes to speak? Yep.
Hi again. You actually made me think of something. What is the process for requesting stop signs be installed at an intersection?
Well, again, it depends on what road it is, a state or a town road.
Town road.
But if you have an issue with any signage whatsoever, you're looking
Or
for
lighting.
modifications, you would go to the police commission. You also go to the deputy chief because he's the one that handles that directly
Okay.
and then makes a recommendation. He'll come out, take a look at it, make a recommendation.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
Yep.
You can contact Deputy Chief Wolfert.
Okay.
And then you can come and present it in front of the Board of Commission to explain why.
Okay.
You have to be an advocate for what you'd like to have changed.
Okay. Great. I requested police reports for accidents at the intersection, but their records were gone, so.
There's a bunch of stuff that goes into putting signs in certain places. They have to run certain studies. There has to be, they check mile an hour, number of cars that go through, number of cars that go through at a certain time.
Yep.
There's traffic, houses in the neighborhood, road condition, line of sight. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into it, and some of it is a little bit more difficult than just putting a sign there.
Sure.
And just for the record, that was Joe Sangamano. Thank you. Anybody else from the public? Hearing none, we can move on to the old business to discuss an act and request by the Board of Police Commissioners for access to additional legal funds. You were able to supply the town with a packet today, and this is the first chance and opportunity that the other selectmen get a chance to go and read through it.
I have another one if we need one.
Okay, maybe one for your packet? Yep. If you could just give an overview for us, that would be helpful, and then we can actually, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to ask them to table to the next meeting to give an opportunity for the other selectmen to read through, because it's a few pages.
All right, so what we did is we came, I don't know, it was a month and a half ago, and asked for some money that we thought was allotted for the police commission. We thought that money was directly for legal counsel on the police commission. That was kind of misunderstood. So I don't know if anybody was here, but we were asking for $1,000. We thought we had $1,000. We don't. It's not even for what we want. So after being educated more on it, well, it comes out of the legal budget for the town. The police commission is so important now to know our role and make sure that we're doing our role correctly. Just the times that we have, things that are going on in this town and elsewhere. And it's not always clear. I know there's people that say, oh, you go on the state website, that tells you everything. It doesn't. The police commissioner in Plainfield is a lot different than the police commissioner in Bridgeport or New Haven. They play a different role than we do, and we're trying to figure out exactly what our role is. We want, again, counsel that is not from the police department side and not from the town side to give us an unbiased, to answer our questions that don't have any tie to either side. We're lucky enough to have a really good, there's actually a couple of really good lawyers in Connecticut, but Daigle Law Firm is the one that contacted. They are around $250 an hour. With that being said, they're like on the other end of the state. We're asking for, out of the legal budget, put aside $5,000. I'm not going to tell you that we're going to use all that.
Right.
We may be able to go into this 4 hours. I don't know. We do have a lot of questions. It's not as cut and dry as people think it is. You got the union that has different rules. You have the town charter that has different rules. Then you got the state that has different rules for commissioners. We're trying to figure out how we fit in all that. It's not as cut and dry as people think it is. So that's what we're asking for this money for. Okay.
I just have one question for the police commissioners. Are you able to bundle your questions together so there's no repetition? So if you all had, a sit down at the next meeting to go through all of your...
Yes. So what the plan is to get all our questions together and send to commissioners to sit down and talk to them. So they can represent the rest of the other commissioners in that. And we haven't picked the 2 commissioners yet. We have a pretty good idea who we're going to do that. But we're all going to, get our questions together, basically have our guns loaded, so when we go there, we can shoot them off.
Okay. I do appreciate the input because it helps us to figure out what's going on for our next meeting. I would like to be able to read through a little more of the documentation if we have any other follow-up questions to bring to you prior to that, and then we can definitely do something hopefully in the next meeting. Sure. That's okay?
Yeah.
And we have done this before in the past. The Board of Selectmen have actually done requests similar to this in the past. So.
Yeah, and it's more just to make sure that we, people in this town elected us, we want to be sure we're doing our job right.
Okay, fair enough. And again, with that said, I would request a motion to table to the next meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, under new business, number 1, consider an act on tax refunds as requested by the tax collector for $449.32. I am not even going to try to pronounce that last name. All right. Rathanu Chethan Panyas, close, for $449.32.
Make a motion to approve the tax refund for $449.32.
All right, motion has been made in a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All right, item number 2, consider an act on the resolution creating your charter revision commission. With the state of Connecticut, it requires you to go through step by step as far as the creation and of the commission, and then after that, it would be the addition to the membership. I do want to point something out which is very important in my mind anyway. We have to make sure that we do things the right way, as was discussed earlier. We also have to adopt all of this and bring it forward to the public. The problem that we have is, once you initiate this resolution for the commission, you just have a certain number of months and you've got to bring it back and get it done. Bear with me. And there is a full list of things to do between the commission and then also by the selectmen. And there's a certain number of days you have to have it done by, and in this case, I think we're talking of 18 months.
16.
I'm sorry.
I just found it.
Yeah, on the bottom.
Section B.
So, quick look. Problem is, if we were to start it right now by resolution, if anything goes wrong in the middle of the process, you don't have an opportunity to put it into and believe me, I do want to get it done well before the November 2024 timeframe. But you are stuck at that point. You can't just back it out. You'd have to have a single vote, which I'm sure that we can do, sometime in April, May timeframe. But if you block off that back access to that full 16 months, which would be November of 2024, then you're stuck. You really are. So and we still have to look at ourselves. We have to look at what's in the charter that we don't understand or we think could be clarified. So we haven't done that yet. We know some things are, but
If you're going to go to special election, April, May, it's better to get more done than not, because you can put it on the ballot, obviously.
right. A separate ballot just for the charter revision would be helpful. You don't have to squeeze it in. People in the past have looked at those questions on the top and bypassed them. So I don't know what your pleasure would be. If you wanted to table creation for 1 month, or you want to start it up, that's up to you. I mean, there's pros and cons to both. Really, it's not that bad, just hold it off for a month, because then you have that window open at November timeframe for 2024, but so what do you want to do?
What's wait a month going to do?
It's going to get us so that if there's any problems during that timeframe,
We could hit it.
you can still hit the November 2024.
Okay.
There's a lot of going back and forth between the commission, them asking questions.
If we hold off a month, that'd be July.
Yes.
Does that give you enough time to finish it by May, before the
Oh, yeah.
next budget?
Yeah, what I did was I took the calendar that we have, there's a list of steps that have to be done. 12 steps that have to be done according to the state statutes, and in doing so, put together a calendar for, let's say, July 24th, the Board of Selectmen motion to appoint the Charter Revision Commission, and then we appoint members, and by the way, membership goes in no less than 5, no more than 15, not more than a bare majority for the same party, not more than a third can hold public office, and then they would submit their draft eventually at the point of 11/5. Well before 11/5, but no later than 16 months from that date. So I listed out 16 months would be 11/5. So I did a whole series of steps all the way through. Even if we did July as a starting point, you can still have everything in and amended and done, so we can have some sort of vote at either the end of March or beginning of April.
If we wait till July.
Yes.
So that would be the important one, 2-4C,
Yep.
to have it before the budget.
Oh yeah, it'll be before the budget.
Right. You say the
Mr. Clement,
24th.
point of information, I hate to do this, but the 2021 Charter Revision Committee started, I took note of this, just to give you guys some extra information for your decision tonight. You actually did the resolution for 2021 one in January 11th of 2021, and they had it wrapped up for the following election in November that same year, so it was about 10, 11 months. So if the new revision works at that kind of speed, we should be able to get it pretty roughly done within 10 to 11 months, even though our timeline for the state statute is 16.
Right.
Just wanted to give
That's
you-
what I was mentioning already. It was
Right.
we can still get it done.
Just figured for reference. Thank you.
That would be 9 months, right? Squeeze in a lot of meetings.
So that was again, I marked it all out. And it went right by the state statutes. I wish I'd printed a couple other copies off, but I was just doing this out of startup. If you wanted to take a quick look. Oops. Again, if you started at the 724, you still see on the second page, you'll see the final draft. State statutes really are, they put it out there saying that there's certain dates, you have to have a certain number of dates from the previous meeting to get the process done. That's it. So whatever you want to do.
I'll make a motion to table this item until 24 July 23.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I think that also gives time for people who are interested. We have 5 names right now. If anybody else is interested, would like to put their name in, we can still have time to do that. And I'd like to be able to put it up onto the town website and post it out there as well. So it gives more time for those people who are actively looking to join in. Item number 3 on your agenda for new business. Getting towards the end of the year, and usually do line item transfers. I've asked all those departments to chime in with what they have for line item transfer requests. We've had Kelly go through this to verify. What you have in front of you is Because when we go to the Board of Finance meetings, we're asked, well, is this short? Do you need more money? Is it, what's going to happen? We usually get those questions, and there's a couple other ones in there as well, but you'll note, like payroll services, if they're going to be short, where they're going to take the money from, and the line's right up with health insurance. A few dollars short on the highway refuse disposal, we're making sure that that's covered. Police dispatch salaries, because we have to have the overtime to help out with the shortages that we've had so far. Police vehicle expense needed a little bit more money. And police uniform, we've had a couple of new officers, so that's understandable. And that goes right into hand with the police training, your building inspector salary, and your building inspector assistant salary. And for clarification, I've mentioned this multiple times at the Board of Finance meetings. Those salaries are there at a little over because I also had the building inspectors checking out daily when Amazon was coming in, so there's some of that money is related directly to that. Recreation program is just a little short on the program itself, so looking for money there. They were trying to get a grant and didn't get it. General town computer, and we'll be able to take from the IT cap upgrades on the other side of that. So really the matter of it's computer versus computer, so that one's there. And planning salaries. So we're a little over there because again, we had someone coming in and what they were doing was they weren't posting to give them comp days instead, and they didn't do that at first, so that's why you're a little over. So now they're doing comp days. Any questions on what we have in front of us? Because what we have to do is we have to agree, vote, and then bring that forward to the Board of Finance at their next meeting, which is, I think, the 16th, 13th. Take a look on the calendar real quick. There we go. Back. Yeah, their meeting is, I think, on the 21st, and we needed to move this meeting ahead because it wasn't available for us on next week, so that's why we had to have it done, so they can have it on their plate on the 21st. Any questions? Okay. Entertain a motion to do line item transfers as written.
Make a motion to approve the line item transfers in the amount of $93,089.
And any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. See on other. A resident was asking before about volume of people that go to the library, and so just for their knowledge, we do have hours for the library, we have a number of people that come in as best they can calculate that. So if anybody's interested in that, usually it's about 100 people per week. And then they have a summer reading program with 100 children that come in for that as well. So and that'll be kicked off on June 20th with science projects planned as well. So that was a question that came in, and that is about it. I would say that unless we have anything else, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye at 7:28. Okay.